term doppelganger is nowadays used by people in their everyday language to refer to two people who look similar, but that is a misuse of the word in some sense. In the correct definition, a doppelganger refers to an apparition or a double walker of a living person. It is not just someone who looks like someone else, but a reflection of that person, a spectral duplicate. One of the eeriest cases of the existence of a doppelganger is Emily Saget. Her story was first told by Robert Dale Owen in 1860 in his book called Footfalls in the Boundary of Another World. He himself heard the story from Julie von Guldenstub, daughter of Baron von Guldenstub, who attended the elite boarding school Pensionat von Neuwalk in the year 1845 in present-day Latvia. This is the school in which Emily Saget was employed in that year. Emily was only 32 years old at this point. She was attractive, smart, and in general well-liked by the students and staff of the school. However, curiously, she had already been employed in 18 different schools in the past 16 years, Pensionat von Neuwalk being her 19th workplace. Slowly, it started becoming clear why Emily couldn't keep her position in any of the jobs for a long time. Emily Saget had a doppelganger, a ghostly twin that would make itself visible to others in random moments. The first time it was spotted was when she had been teaching a class of 17 girls. She had been normally writing on the board, her back facing the girl, when out of nowhere a projection-like entity that looked just like her appeared and stood right beside her, mocking her by imitating her movements. While everyone else in the class could see this doppelganger, Emily herself could not. In fact, she never came across her twin, which was just as well for her. It is considered to be an extremely bad omen to see one's own doppelganger.
So, this is just like a legitimate question though. Is this like showing that she had one, but she couldn't see it? That's kind of related to today, because we could have a ghost, but we can't see them, kind of only how like certain animals can see them. I don't know why, that's just like weird to think about that.
Since the first sighting, Emily's apparent twin was spotted quite frequently by others at the school. She was seen sitting beside the real Emily, eating silently, imitating Emily while she did her everyday work, sitting in class while Emily taught. One time, as Emily was helping one of her students dress up for an event, the doppelganger appeared. The student, as she looked down to suddenly find two Emilys fixing her dress, fainted immediately. The most talked about sighting of Emily was when she was seen gardening by a class full of 42 girls who were learning sewing. The supervisor of the class walked out for a bit. Emily walked in and sat down in her place. The students didn't think much of it until one of them pointed out that Emily was still in the garden doing her work. They must have been terrified by the other Emily in the room, but some of them were brave enough to go and touch this doppelganger. What they found was that their hands could go through her, only sensing what seemed like a bulk of cobweb. When asked about this, Emily herself was at a loss. She had never seen this twin of hers who was ruining her life, and thus had no control over it either. Because of this ethereal entity, she had been asked to leave all her previous jobs. Even this job of hers seemed to be in jeopardy because seeing two Emilys at once was naturally freaking people out. Many parents had started taking their children out of the institution, and reluctantly, the principal had to let Emily go despite her diligent nature and capabilities as a teacher. There are very few explanations for Emily's doppelganger because of the bizarre nature of it all. Actual cases of doppelgangers are quite rare in history, and Emily's story is probably the scariest of them all. It was heard that while Emily's doppelganger made itself visible, the actual Emily appeared very worn out and lethargic. Hey.
So, as I was recording, it said that I can't record, so in conclusion, the president just got shot, so I have to record it myself. But it is 5:30 in the morning, and I woke up at 4 o'clock. But I don't really care. Mr. President got shot, so I guess I'm gonna have to read it. It was heard that while Emily's doppelganger made itself visible, the actual Emily appeared very worn out and lethargic, as if the duplicate was a part of her spirit that had broken free. When it disappeared, she was back to being her normal self. After the incident in the garden, Emily had said that she had had an urge to go inside the classroom to supervise the kids herself, but hadn't actually done it. This indicates that the doppelganger perhaps was a reflection of the kind of teacher Emily wanted to be. Doing multiple tasks at once, some people have a theory that this doppelganger comes out to do the task that Emily herself was doing in an alternative universe where she had made a choice different from that of the real world. Also, just gotta pause real quick to say this gameplay was done by Void Games. He spent a lot of time on it, so just check him out. But now then, back to the story. The doppelganger, whatever it is, the case of Emily Sage is still talked about almost 2 centuries after it happened. A case like this is both fascinating and frightening, and makes one wonder if they too have a doppelganger that they are not aware of. It's kind of like what I was thinking earlier, because you could have one and not know about it, just due to the fact of like fear or something, if that makes sense. I don't know. So that story came from 1850. I basically did a bunch of reading, found it, located it, and decided to use it. Just because it was a true sighting, so we can say it's true and that ghosts are real. In conclusion, we should not be at school right now. Yep, I'm definitely fired. Anyways, though, our next story will be coming down from an anonymous user who called at 3 in the morning to tell me he had a story that he found off of Reddit. So hopefully this Reddit man will make the president come back to life, because I don't want to read all of this. Jesus Christ. A few years ago, I moved into a 1-bedroom apartment in Melbourne, Australia. They went on to recall. It was my first time living on my own. The apartment block had been built in the 1930s. I had been there for a few months when I came home from work one day and went into the bathroom. I saw something strange. A wooden board which had covered a hole in the ceiling that led to a small attic space. Lay fractioned 2 pieces on the ground. Alright, so I'm just gonna have to stop there to say that it is common sense. Why you just move? That's like the Goosebump kids. Whenever they found the doll inside the house, they looked at it and said, "Ooh, scary doll," and then died or something. I don't know. I didn't read the books. I watched it. The board was an inch thick, and it would have taken Bruce Lee to break it. I thought the landlord had sent someone to work on. To work on what? That? Oh, to work on the attic. Alright. I was frozen stiff with fear. Someone is up there for sure, I thought. So, leave the house, burn it with fire. If you see a spider, just throw a Molotov cocktail or something. Okay, enough. I emailed pictures to the landlord asking if anyone had been there, with an undertone of annoyance since she hadn't warned me. She's not gonna warn you, there's ghosts in the house. Her reply, which then read, "Please call me as soon as you are able to." I called and she explained that her last 2 tenants had said the same thing. Oh wow, reoccurring ghost. What does that mean? We continue to live there because we are smart. A month later, I woke up one night and around 4 a.m. my body was covered in goosebumps. Alright, ghost signs are like weird aberrations, your body, so pee or something, get out the house. But then I heard a dragging sound coming from above my bed. And you're still living there. Alright, I froze convinced someone was up there. There was no way an animal could make that sound. After 5 minutes, I worked up the courage to turn on the light, armed myself with the cricket bat, and walked to the bathroom. What? I'm walking out the house. That's when I saw that the new board covering the hole was broken in 2. I felt sick. The dragon sound had stopped, but I heard something else. Whispering. Go take your fish oil pills. That didn't happen. Anyways, the sound was clear and coming from the attic. It sounded like children's voices, and I could hear one sentence repeated over and over. It's your turn. It's your turn. I'm not gonna try and attempt to impersonate a child. I'm not. Nope. Okay, pay enough. I switched on every light in the apartment to make things feel normal. It was 5 a.m. Oh my god, it's 5 a.m. right now. I should go back to bed. And dark outside, I watched TV to try to unwind. Well, my TV does not work, so I would not be watching TV. I would be outside the house. Then a fuse blew. Oh wow. 6th sign to get out the house and you're still in the house. I'm not surprised if they die. But anyways, I never heard him make those sorts of noise. What? Oh, sorry, I skipped a part. My pet, Bougie Dexter, whom I kept in the kitchen, usually never made a sound at night. But he started squawking like he was being strangled. What? Bird dead? Alright. I never heard him make those sorts of noises. He was screaming. I grabbed my car keys, ran out, sat in my car, waited there until circle. You left the bird. You left the bird.
We'll check it out while the coast is clear.
When I saw people walking their dogs, this comforted me enough to go back in. The front door was open, but I figured I might have forgotten to close it when I ran out. I went to to the kitchen to check on Dexter, but he wasn't in his kitchen. I felt sick again. All my windows were closed, so I looked everywhere inside. When I walked to the bathroom, I heard splashing. Dexter was half drowned in the toilet. Why is that funny? I'm not reading this. I quit. I composed myself, and I will finish reading this, or I'm either gonna sum it up and give you the Demi special and just give you everything basic about it. But I've ran out of gameplay footage and the bird. I can't say the bird. Oh my god. When I walked to the bathroom, I heard splashing. Dexter was half drowned in the toilet. I took him out, washed him, and dried him. I was so confused at 8 a.m. I called the landlord and gave her a watered down version of the night. Oh wow, you're in the western too, she said. Why was there Squidward? I stayed in that apartment for another 18 months. Ooh, wow, you're stupid. I heard the whispering on a few occasions and twice the board covering the hole in the ceiling moved. Alright. Although I live elsewhere now, the landlord recently called. She said that her new tenants had begged to speak with me about some of the stuff that's been going on there. Forget it. It's their problem now. Straight Sigma is what I'm talking about. Yes, sir.